Okay, thank you very much again. I think actually regarding all those questions actually you just raised, I think through my presentation, I think I can share what's going on in Korea. And I wouldn't say that, of course, Korea is the best practice at all. We are still this is a kind of experimentation also from the Korean government side. So if you take a look at this part, actually, our organization name is the Gyeonggi Center for Creative Economy Innovation. So creative economy, in our definition, is actually started from United Kingdom in 2001. But in Korea, we say that combine the creative ideas with the technology. So if you can go to the next slide, you recognize her, the President Park Geun-hye. Actually, 2014, she said that, what's happening in Korea. I mean, Samsung, LG, or the big companies in Korea. They are prosperous, but at the same time, what happened to the Nokia, what happened to the Sony. So Samsung, the president of Samsung, all the time, he feels threatened. And the same feeling actually we share in Korea because, okay, we are number one in certain areas, but doesn't mean that we are going to be number one forever in that area. So President Park thought that the big companies are too slow. The sustainable innovation and disruptive innovation, the big companies they have resources, but when it comes to the changing the perspective or having the innovative ideas, actually they're a little bit slow. But then, regarding the second question is related, actually, the startup companies are very agile. They are very quick and they are very creative, innovative. So she thought, what if we can combine the resources of the big companies with the creative ideas of the startup companies that would make a very big, good, positive synergy effect in Korean society as a whole. So next slide, please. So if you take a look at the map, we have established 18 centers nationwide. Let's just imagine that you're a startup company. Then let's say that your startup company is measuring the energy. Then you go to the Chungcheong-namdo Center, which is matched with a big company called Hanwha. So Hanwha is private sector. And so when you go there, you can meet with the staff from the big companies easily. Then they will give you the advice, the consultation, even the investment also. But if you say that, for example, I'm from Gyeonggi Center, so KT is working with us. KT is a Korea telco, and they provide sponsorship, and they also donate funds to us. And government, from the local government and central government, we work together with the KT. And let's say that your startup company is measuring like IoT or fintech or games and 5G, then you come to us, and then we connect you to the staff or experts from the KT, so that you can have the better possibility for growth. So next slide. So I have to tell you about where we are located because this is you can see the Korean word in the middle. It's called the Pangyo Techno Valley. This is built by the Korean local government called the Gyeonggi Provincial Government. Actually, the first question about the Silicon Valley being boring, actually we feel the same way. And so, because in Korea we always say that we have to look at the Silicon Valley, we have to take the lessons from the Silicon Valley. We have nothing against the Silicon Valley, of course not, but then we cannot wait for our Korean version of Silicon Valley to grow and be prosperous. So we have to build something. The government has to do something. That's how actually Pangyo Techno Valley was born, because this is Korean Silicon Valley, and this is a 60,000 square meter, which is not too big. And then this is nearby, as you can see, international airport and all the important business hotspots. Next slide, please. And so you know that this is not to brag about Korea, but this is just a fact. And the internet speed is Korea's number one. And 4G LTE coverage is also Korea's number one, it's at 97% nationwide. If you go to Korea, if you take the subway, then you'll be surprised to see people, they all look like zombies. There's a reason for that. They are not reading books. They are not reading magazines. They are not reading newspapers. They are all looking at what? Smartphones. Sometimes I feel scared because they don't look at each other. They just look at the smartphones, just like there's no spirit, there's no, it's really strange. But then why it's possible? Because we have a very strong internet connectivity. But as I said again, I'm not here to brag about Korea as being number one in internet speed or something like that. It's nothing like that. All I'm saying is that we have a very good internet connection. Actually, that will guarantee that whatever we build from now on, then maybe we can have a better future, we can have a better possibility, and even to try to transform a city into a smart city also. Okay, next slide, please. So as I coming back to the Pangyo Techno Valley that we built artificially, this is not an organic village. So here we put all the IT related companies. You know, games are actually one of our strengths in Korea. So out of 10 biggest game companies in Korea, 8 companies are next to our buildings in the Pangyo Techno Valley. Actually, this is really important because Silicon Valley, as you know, grew organically. Pangyo Techno Valley is not an organic thing. It's a 100% artificial thing. 100% by design of the local government and central government. So some private sectors say it's not going to work. It was back 2005, and then now it's completed 2015. And so, but it's going well. It's very prosperous. The sales revenue is increasing dramatically. Next slide, please. So if you go back. If you go back to the previous slide. No, the next one. This is the second one? Okay. So you don't have to read all the letters that you can see here, characters, but it's just that Pangyo Techno Valley, as I said, is a small area, 6,100 square meter, but 600,000 square meter. But then all the buildings are all combined, all get together. We have like 1,125 big companies and strong SMEs all together. So you know, nowadays we talk about the ICT being well advanced, so you don't have to actually physically together. You can just use the internet and phone calls or video conferencing. But still, if we can get together, all together in one spot, so that they can have a better communication, actually it's good for the collaboration. Then this is what's happening in the Pangyo Techno Valley. Okay, next slide. So now, since 2011, if you look at the sales revenue on the left side, sales revenue is up to $60 billion already. It actually happens for the first 4 years only. So my point I'm trying to make is that, yes, we don't have to look at the Silicon Valley model only. If the government wants to do really approximate what the Silicon Valley has been achieving, the government can do. It's not exactly the same level, but I think we can approximate as much as possible. Next slide, please. So, and then, since the Pangyo Techno Valley has been very successful, even though there is a criticism from the private sector, so the Gyeonggi provincial government moved on to the next level, the Star Campus. This is actually completed this year, March. So what they do is that they try to accommodate the Star Campus as much as possible by providing incubating and accelerating. Well, when we talk about the development, actually, we don't have like a Dell, we don't have the IBM, we don't have the Apple, we don't have the big companies in our country. And then what should we do? I think the country should start with the start companies and youngsters, and they have to be entrepreneurs, and we have to give them opportunities to grow. Then that way they can actually resolve a lot of problems. That's the reason why nowadays we are paying more attention to the startup companies and how we are going to incubate and accelerate them as much as possible. And this is one of the ideas. So next slide, please. So this is what you see. This is called the Startup Campus built by the local government and the central government together. This is not the initiative of the private sector. But as he said before, Dr. Lin, the government is going to take the initiative for a while. And after a certain time, I'm sure that they will step back, and then private sector will take the initiative and take over. So we are not worried about the private sectors being excluded, not at all, because we will come in time. Next slide, please. And then now, the Gyeonggi provincial government, since they have been very successful with those Pangyo Techno Valley project and also the Star Campus, so they're building the new city called the Pangyo Zero City, is nearby. So what they're trying to do is that, as you can see, startup companies are very important because they have a very innovative ideas and creative ideas. And also we help them for the growth. But now this is a zero city, is a zero means there is no pollution, the pollution zero. And okay, thank you for the music. And then also the no problems, the zero means there's no problems at all in terms of the carbon emission and also the children being missing, lost, or also you have problems with the parking and also energy problems. Next slide, please. So because my slides are a little bit many, so I'm going to skip some parts. So the first one you see is the Pangyo Techno Valley. The other one, on the lower part, is actually Pangyo Zero City. So they are going to combine those two cities so that they can have an synergy effect. Next slide, please. So smart cities, why do we care about the startup companies and what's the relationship between the startups and also the smart cities? Is because startups actually have come up with very good ideas about IoT or IT or the new technology. So we know that. So we try not to let them fail, because the failure rate for the startup is almost 9% in pretty much around the world. So as you can see, we are ready and working to transform the whole city into a smart city based upon the strong internet connectivity and also big data and the cloud server. So startup companies actually keep coming up with very good ideas. So we try to not let them fail. So that's the reason why we have all these. Please, next slide. So this is the simple concept of the Pangyot Zero City, self-driving car and IT converged infrastructure. And they are building currently, and it's going well. And here we are going to experiment on many new technology and ideas. Okay, next slide. So how we are working with the private sector? If whatever we do here that I showed you to you, it's not only just the government side. Actually, KT, as I said, is a Korean telecom, is a private sector. They're working together with us very closely. So as you can see, they have all the skills that they need to transform any city into a smart city. So all we have to do is just to tap into their resources, and they can work with the startup companies also together. So let me explain a little bit about how we are working in the Gyeonggi Center for Creative Economy and Innovation Center. We get donation from KT. It's around $3 million per year. And the center and local government, they donate around $3 million. And then now it's actually increased this year. So now we get around $12 million per year from those three actors. And we try to find the startup companies specializing in IoT, fintech, game, 5G, and any startup companies who want to go global. Then we help them as much as possible. I sleep only 3 to 4 hours every day because I have to help as many startup companies as possible in Korea. Okay, next slide. So what we try to establish, as I said, Korea is not perfect ecosystem for startup company at all. Actually, it's a very hostile environment for startup companies. But if the environment is hostile against the startup company, means that we give them directly to the president also, and they can do, the central government can do about it very quickly. And the third one actually is more important, is that, as I said, in Korea, you have to understand that big companies, we call it 재벌, big companies actually didn't treat startup companies very nicely. You know what happens to when Samsung met the CEO of the Android in 2005. And the CEO of the Android, he came to Samsung. He didn't go to the Google first. And he came to Samsung, and he had a meeting with the executive of Samsung. And he said, I want to build a very good operating system for the phones. The Samsung executive said, how many people do you work with? And the CEO of the Android said, 6. So Samsung left, and then he said, we don't see you actually making it happen, because you're just a 6. How can you do it? You're just a small company. It's a startup company. And then they were rejected. So they went to the Google, and then 2 weeks later, actually they had signed with the contract with the Google, and then now it's Google Android. So it happens all the time in Korea. When they see the startup companies, they don't think that startup companies can do much. They just think that they are subcontractors. And they're going to fail anyway. And that technology they show, we can do it later because we have made a lot of money. But that kind of arrogance actually is weakening the big companies in Korea. So what we try to provide about experimentation, we try to provide an open platform, open source platform, so that the open innovations platform, so that they can experiment. The big companies, when they see the startup companies, the new technology or a new business model, they can work with them, not like crush them and then take it away. They have to work with them legitimately. And startup companies can tap into those resources that big companies have. So we can call this a win-win situation. So we try to make sure the big companies like dinosaurs, they don't eat up the small but innovative and startup companies. So we try to make sure that that kind of open innovation platform is there. So next slide, please. So we talked about the CCTV. You see the big difference between this and that on the right and on the left. On the right, actually, is normal CCTV. I'm sure that you have heard or watched this kind of scene on the television all the time. Yes, we have the footage of the crime scene, but then it was too dark, so we cannot recognize the face of the perpetrators. How many times you have heard about that? So one star company from Korea, they thought, what if we can make a very good camera, which will be functional fully in the dark? And they came up with this idea that called ultra low light camera. So on the left, there is no light at all. There's a teeny tiny light. They can maximize as much as possible, and it looks like it's a broad daylight. So this kind of innovative didn't come from the Samsung or LG. It came from just a few, about 5 people, employees, star company. That's the reason why each and every country, you have the very, very good possibility when you nurture the star companies. Okay, it's almost finished. The next one, you know, the Germany. Is there any German from Germany? Okay, so Germany is always talk about the Industry 4.0. Okay, but turning an old-fashioned factory, I'm sure that in Thailand, in Bangladesh, in China, there are many factories. But transforming the old-fashioned factory into the smart factory actually very, very expensive and takes some time. Actually, you have to change many things. But this star company from Korea, they came up with a wonderful idea. And actually, the Samsung is working with us together also. They try to help the star factories in Korea turning into the smart factories, which is very expensive. It takes a very time-consuming. But this star company just resolved the problem right away. What they came up with very good sensors, and all you have to do is just put the sensors into your old-fashioned factories parts and equipment, and then that's it. We will see that where you are going to have a problem this Thursday, you can make a prediction, then you can make a prevention for that. So it is very, very cheap, and also it doesn't take too much time to actually attach them to your old-fashioned factories at all. These are just good examples. I'm trying to share some cases that startups can do, and they can do many things. So next slide, please. I think I have just about 2 more slides. Just be patient with me just for about 1 minute. And this one is just to try to share the why many startup companies go global. You know, in Korea, the experts say, you know, McDonald's, look at the McDonald's. They were not global. Coca-Cola was not global from the beginning. They were successful in their country first, and then they went global. Then nowadays, startup companies they're crazy. Why they want to go global from the beginning? But there is a reason for that. Just this is one example. This startup company, actually they came up with this idea. You know, when you talk, if you touch your ear, you can feel that your voice not coming from your mouth only. It comes from your ear canals. It comes from your nose also. When you have many noise around you, then you talk to your phone, you talk on the phone, the other person cannot hear you very clear because of the ambient noise. So this company came up with this idea that what if we can build the microphone inside the earphone, then this earphone with the microphone built in it is going to capture your voice directly from your ear canal, so there's no ambient noise at all. So what does it mean? It means that, unfortunately, if you look at this photo, that actually crowdfunding in the United States, when they finished the crowdfunding, it was very successful. They found out that actually they don't have the customers in Korea. They analyzed the buyers, contributors, 90% actually come from the United States and Canada. So they decided to go global right away. I mean, that is just a good example why the many startup companies go global from the beginning. And that actually what we try to help them, because we try to help them as much as possible with all the global network around the world. So these are the partners that we have. And just yesterday, I also have found another partner in Phuket and in Bangkok and Chiang Mai. So hopefully we can help the startup companies to go global in Thailand, for example, and vice versa. We have a very strong partners in Spain and France with the Telefonica and Orange and etc. Okay. So what we do is just try to help the individuals to transform their ideas into business. And we have found 18 individuals. And accelerating, we are accelerating 77 in nationwide, so more than 1,500. Okay, so this just shows that usually the startup companies are focusing on ICT, IoT, and these technologies that they came up with actually didn't come from the big companies like Samsung and LG. They came from just the individuals who have a very creative and innovative mind. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention. And I know it's a little bit long and also it's a little bit boring, but I welcome any questions you have. And thank you very much for your patience and attention. Anyway, nice to meet you, and I'm pleased and honored to be here. Okay, so about the question, actually, I think it depends on how you look at the role of the government. Because let's say that your society is from the socialist or communist, they will think that the government has to do many of the roles. Like China, when they visited us, they said that actually they didn't involve the private sectors very much, and they focused on public sector only. But so for them, just the role that government has to play is actually a lot. It's really, really big. But from the perspective of Korea, for example, and we believe that the government has to do whatever they have to do. It doesn't matter whether, people say all the time in Korea, the Silicon Valley grew organically. They were not growing artificially or by design of the government. But then if we take a look at the society or history of the economy, each country, each society has a different background. So I don't think this is a good idea to compare this model with another model. But I believe that it depends on the circumstances, and we have to look at the situations. And if the government has to do as much as they have to do, then I think they have to do. So when I share our case in the presentation, you will have a somewhat good understanding of what government can do and how far they can go. But the judgment is all yours, and we will see how it turns out.
Thank you.
I think, because actually, let me just share what's happening in Korea. Actually, regarding what Philip said, actually the private sectors always blame the government when government declares that they are going to do something that actually the entrepreneurs or private sectors are supposed to do. But then the problem is, let me just share one interesting story. The total number of the chicken restaurants in Korea is a lot more than the total number of the McDonald's in the world. So why I say that? Because the government is not going to do anything about chicken restaurants because there are plenty. The government intervenes only when their private sectors are not moving on, actually. So the government is trying to prepare the platform, and the private sectors actually they are just waiting because they don't want to lose, they don't want to risk the losses actually. But then they blame each other all the time. So, but then coming back to his question that what government has to do or what we have to do to make sure the entrepreneurs have the space to experiment, I think first and foremost, what's most important for us from the perspective of Korea, the regulations actually. Because what happens in Korea and the big difference between what's happening in Korea and the Silicon Valley. When Silicon Valley, the entrepreneurs fail, it doesn't mean that they are losers forever. It's not like they're going to die forever. But in Korea, if you fail one time, actually there's really almost impossible for you to return to your business. That because there are many reasons for that. I cannot just blame only regulations, but there are many factors. So what government has to do to make sure the entrepreneurs can come back to their business even after they fail is they have to make sure that we have an ecosystem without too many regulations. And also, actually that's one of the best things they can do. But the others, I also can discuss this a whole day, but I'm going to leave it up to the presentation that I'm going to do. So that's for now. Okay, yeah, I think I have to answer the last question. It's a good question, I really appreciate it. First and foremost, I believe that the smart city, actually a smart village or smart society, all comes down to how we are going to make people happy and how we are going to resolve all the problems that are actually disturbing the people. Yes, I think it's not possible to satisfy all the people, and I don't think that technology is the central in the core at all. It's just a tool, and it all comes down to how you're going to make problems disappear by using the technology and so on. So smart cities, or when I said in Pankyo Valley, it's not to just show off, or it's not about to brag about, yes, you see that we have a very strong IT cluster or something like that. No. I think if the people are not happy with it, then of course, what is in it for it? So I wouldn't say that, but then when it comes to the smart cities, or when it comes to Pankyo Valley, I'm sure that the Gyeonggi provincial government, actually, they had the communications with the people. And actually, they brought up many good companies from pretty much nationwide in Korea. And I know that the antipathy against the government, and government's like taking initiative and then just do it, and as I say. that they try to have communications, but then it's not always possible to meet all the satisfactions or the residents or everyone living there. So I know that government has to continue to communicate with the people. Of course, they shouldn't just turn the death fear to the residents. And so I think that this in the process, I wouldn't say that this is the final version. So we have to continue to talk with people.
Thank you. I'd like somebody to answer the first one. Anybody want to take that?